Hey guys, we're going to start our notes for today with a reference sheet on proving triangles congruent. As we talked about, that we are going to be doing proofs here soon, and this will be a page that should be very helpful to you. So when we prove that triangles are congruent, we have to prove them by one of these 5 ways. The first way is side, side, side. That means we can say this side is congruent to this side is congruent to this side, and this side is congruent to this side. When we are looking at side angle side, we're looking at 2 sides and the included angle. That means the angle between them. So if this side is congruent to this side and this side is congruent to this side, then in order to prove that they're congruent by side angle side, the angle in the middle must also be congruent. For angle side angle, 2 angles and the included side. So angle, congruence, and the side in between. Angle, angle side is 2 angles and a side opposite. So angle, side. Hypotenuse leg can only be proven if you have a right triangle, and it means the hypotenuse is congruent to the hypotenuse, and then either of the 2 legs is congruent to another leg. So this is a leg, this is a leg, and this is the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is always opposite the right angle. Reason sides are congruent, it's given, definition of midpoint, reflexive property. Reasons angles are congruent, given, vertical angles, parallel lines that have alternate interior, alternate exterior, corresponding angles, and definition of angle bisector. Here is CPCTC, as we have talked about prior. So if triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF, then angle A is congruent to angle D, angle B is congruent to angle E, angle C is congruent to angle F, side AB is congruent to side DE, side BC is congruent to side EF, and side AC is congruent to side DF. So on our diagram, angle A is congruent to angle D, angle B and angle E, angle C and angle F, AB, DE, BC, EF, AC, and DF. Moving on to our first page of triangle proofs, we're going to start with side, side, side. So we're going to do some of these together. I'm going to do some together in class. So side, side, side is if 3 sides of one triangle are congruent to 3 sides of another triangle, then the triangles are congruent. So if side AB is congruent to side DE, as we see they're marked with 1 mark here, side BC is congruent to side EF, 2 congruent marks, and AC is congruent to DF, then we can say triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF by side, side, side. It is very important that your letters are in the right place. If they're not, it will be wrong. So make sure that you are able to do that. All right, we're going to look at our first proof here. And they're already telling you it's a side, side, side proof. What you're going to do is you're going to take the given statement. You will always have a given and a proof. So we're going to take the given statement and we are going to label our diagram. So PQ is congruent to ST. QR is congruent to RT. And R is the midpoint of PS. That means this piece is congruent to this piece. Midpoint cuts it in half. So it also tells you what you want to prove. The prove is always your last statement. The given is usually the first statement or first set of statements. So I'm going to put a little S out here at the end. If it is listed in the given is your reason. So PQ is congruent to ST, part of the given. That is our reason, given. QR is congruent to RT, also part of the given. R is the midpoint of PS, also part of the given. So really 4 is our first reason we have to come up with ourselves. PR is congruent to RS. Why? Definition of midpoint. What that definition says is if you have a midpoint, it cuts your segment in half. So why are the two triangles congruent? Triangle PQR and triangle STR. Notice you don't have to come up with that. It's already there for you. All three sides are congruent. So side, side, side is our reason. Don't forget your questions box. You may have lots of questions here, so don't forget to include that. All right, let's take a look at our next page and look at problem number 3. AC is congruent to AD. CB is congruent to BD. Prove the two triangles are congruent. This one doesn't have statements, so we have to come up with our own. So we're going to say AC is congruent to AD because it is given. CB is congruent to BD because it is given. And our last statement is going to be triangle ABC is congruent to triangle ABD because it is what we are trying to prove. So I'm going to switch colors here because what you see, and notice 5 out of 8 of your boxes are filled already, just with what is already given to you, given and proof. So we know this is a side, side, side proof, and we know it's a side, side, side proof because it's in the section. But the other reason that it says side, side, side proof is because these two triangles share a common side. They share side AB. So our third statement is side AB is congruent to side AB, and that is the reflexive property. And that is something that you will be using a lot. Remember, to be the reflexive property, it must look exactly the same. So we're going to put our 3 tick marks here, and our 2 triangles are congruent by side, side, side. Don't forget your questions box. All right, now we're going to talk about side, angle, side. If 2 sides in the included angle of one triangle is congruent to 2 sides in the included angle of another triangle, then the 2 triangles are congruent. Included means the angle between the sides. If that is not there, you cannot use side, angle, side. So in this particular diagram, we have a side AB congruent to side DE. Congruency for angles, angle B is congruent to angle E. And then our side BC is congruent to side EF. And if all these take place, then triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF. Notice the included angle is in between. All right, let's take a look at our given for problem number 4. JM is congruent to NL. Angle JMN, so that's this angle here, is congruent to LNM, which is here. And then we're going to prove the 2 triangles are congruent. Notice our statements are already filled in for us. So JM is congruent to NL is our given. Angle JMN congruent to angle LNM, also given. MN is congruent to MN, reflexive property. Remember, they share a side. So the two triangles are congruent by side, angle, side. Let's take a look at number 5. This will be our last one for our video. The rest of them we will complete in class. All right, given AB is congruent to BC. Don't forget, you're going to take that given and mark your diagram. BD bisects angle ABC. So that means these two little angles here are congruent. And you should already be thinking they share a side. So if they share a side, that's going to be congruent to itself. Looks the same, reflexive property. Okay, AB congruent to BC is given. BD bisects ABC given. Angle ABD is congruent to angle CBD. That is definition of bisector. Side BD is congruent to side BD, reflexive property. So the two triangles are congruent by side, angle, side. Don't forget your questions box. We are going to continue this study in class, and I hope you guys have a great afternoon.